Today I'm putting power steering in the F600 with this. That's right. This is a power steering column out of a 07 Prius. So a couple of things we got to do before we really dive in. As you can hear, well, I can show you too, it's raining, which means I've got to go out there in the rain and pull the steering column out of the old F600. And it's sitting out there. I could bring it in the shop. The problem is that truck's so big and I've got so much crap in my shop that it's hard to have enough room to work on it. But I might have to rearrange some stuff and get her on in here. Now, we'll see. First thing we're gonna do right quick though is break down this this Prius steering column. And I'll show you all that right quick. So I already removed the bolt before I put the camera on for this little U-joint. We're gonna go ahead and pull it off. I say we are. All right, U-joint removed. Put the bolt back in, because I don't want to lose that. And then we're going to remove the nut out of the steering wheel. I've already loosened this stuff up, because I've been playing with it. I just want to show you guys how it came apart. Steering wheel comes off. We're gonna put our nut back because again, I don't want to lose it. And then the little cluster here for your blinkers and whatnot, wipers. There is a spring clip here. You can compress that spring clip, and it just kind of knocks off there. Oh, come on. I tell y'all it's easy and then it doesn't be easy. Oh, there it went. So that comes off in one piece. And that's the big like hose clamp that was holding it on. I'll go ahead. Maybe we won't put that back. It just left from here. All right, we're gonna set this steering wheel out the way. And these cluster pieces out the way. Now we have the steering column. So as you can see, you got an electric motor and your gearbox, which has your gear reducer. Or I guess actually it's a torque multiplier. And this is the important part. That's the control box. And it goes like so, and like so. And so these two wires go to the battery, and this wire, is that, can I pull that off? Yep, there we go, lovely. Actually, this little black wire right here goes to the ignition switch. That's just to tell this thing to turn on. A pretty simple setup. We're gonna go, I'm gonna go out there and decide if it makes more sense to pull that truck in here. I'm probably gonna pull the truck in here. But yeah, putting that truck in here, the last time I had it in here, it was tight because it's a big truck. All right. Oh, don't roll backward. Did I run over anything? No, that's fantastic. Is it gonna be super tight working in here? Heck yeah. All right, see if we can turn this wheel. I think that might be it. All right, let's go look. Oh, I'm looking at the seat, that's cool. Super cool. So, I've got to be able to get up in there and work. That's gonna be fun. I might be jacking this whole girl up and taking the tire off, huh? I'll set this here for the moment while I go find a jack. And one of my big jack stands. And this truck has left-hand threads on the wheels. So if you try and loosen it, you're gonna tighten them. Oh yeah, I'll put chocks behind the wheels too, because I don't want this big girl rolling away anywhere. Let's show you guys what I'm looking at. Now that I can get up in here. So, there's my steering box. Actually, it's behind this beam here. I wonder, what the heck is that? Huh, okay. Huh. So this joint right here, and yeah, there's like stuff all in the way, but that joint is the bottom of my steering column. And there is is that a nut and bolt or just a bolt? Yeah, I can't hardly. I'll have to kneel down and crawl up in there. I can't see what I need to see. Oh, that scared me. Okay. All right, no, but it looks like it's just a bolt there that I've got to remove so that those splines will come off. I don't know how that joint works. It does not look like a typical U-joint or a rag joint. I'm sure someone will drop in the comments and tell me it's a commuter joint or it's a scapulary joint or some word I've never heard of. So I'm gonna find the bolt that fits that so I can, or the socket that fits that bolt. I'm just gonna make up words. Scapulary joint. That's the Rock'em Sock'em robot joint. I cut my thumb really good at the junkyard the other day. I think I'm gonna wear gloves today because I don't feel like busting that back open. Because that wasn't fun. Is that a 9/16? Let's see. Ooh. All right then. That does look like a 9/16. Now the cool question is, am I gonna be able to get onto it easily? It don't look real easily. It's like all kind of stuff in the way. Don't think there's room there for that. There might be. I don't know. First things first, gotta remove that out of there. And then I gotta go inside the truck take some measurements, unbolt some stuff. Huh. The cab mounts don't seem to be in bad shape. That's nice. Okay. Is the bottom 9/16, the nut end. It appears so. All right, cool. Let me see if I can get stuff up in there to reach to it. I'll probably like to see what I'm doing instead of just listening to me yak. All right, so I've got to remove, see that 9/16 bolt that my wrench is on. I got to remove that. I do not know if there's a good place in here for y'all to watch. It's kind of tight. I'm gonna set you right here on this frame member and see if that works. Ow! See if I can wedge my fat self in here between the wheel and the fender and try to see what I need to see. Or see it and getting on it, still two different problems. Yep, impact time. Maybe. All right. And this washer, I think. Is that a washer or is that just the... Yep, that's a lock washer. I can get it off there. So then, now when I go inside the cab and pull that steering wheel, that should come right out. So, there's my doohickey. See it up in there. Yeah, so there's the joint I took out. Here was the bolt. That's loose now. And if I grab this, I've got a little bit of play there. It's tight, but it does move. So, when I pull the steering column, this should slide off of that shaft down there. And the shaft going into the steering box. There's just not enough light to show you guys what I want to show you. There we go. Now that's the shaft, and that's where the bolt was, and that's the coupling. I still don't know what that coupling's called. But we're gonna get it out and have a look at it. Now we're going inside the truck. And inside the truck, I need to look. Oh, I just blinded everybody. And inside the truck, I want to get measurements off of everything. I want to get measurements off of my height from the bottom of the steering column here to the floor, from there to the dashboard, my length from this joint to here, just to give myself an idea of where I need to be back at when I'm done. So let's and then I've got to take, there is a surround here, see it, that plate's got to come off. So I'm gonna start disassembling these things. Yep, I'm gonna go find me some paper and a pen and a measuring tape. And yes, by paper and pen, I do in fact mean cardboard and Sharpie. First, we're gonna draw us a picture of a steering wheel and a shaft. All right. So, that's a horrible steering wheel. I know it's all wonky, but I don't care. I'm not trying to draw art class. I'm trying to so from the floor to the bottom of that hub is 26¼ inches. So from here to here, 26¼ All right, now then, from that joint to that one, it's like 13 and a quarter. Well, there's a coupling down here with a bolt hole in it, and a coupling here, 13 and a quarter. And then from that coupling to here is like 10 and 3/8. No. 1, 2. Yeah, 10 and 3/8. 10 and 3/8. And then from the floor to the bottom of it is almost precisely 23 inches. Yeah. Now then, based off those little measurements, I should be able to get it back basically in this orientation. We hope. So now we start disassembling things. It'd be kind of cool if the mechanical part of that thing would go below the floorboard. I just don't know if there's room. Gotta pull this carpet back. Oh, okay. I'll just tuck the carpet back behind the pedals. How about that? That lets me get to what I need. Oiling those before we put them back in. All right, that's off. All right, so the wires up here. All right, so the wires are just clamped on here. We're gonna pop these off. I'm off there. I'll go in the bucket, and this one will go in the bucket. Well, that gum, there it is. In the bucket. Now the wiring bundle will just unplug. If I can get the little come out of there. All right, now steering column is unwired. Take these two bolts out and it should just come off. Let's see. Let's test that theory. All right, too much extension. Shorten this up some. Of course, there's a nut back there. All right. That's the thing I'm hitting on. I've got to get that loose still. Thought it was loose already. Oh, there it went. Lovely. Steering column's out. All right, that goes in there. Now then. Ow. How about that? What in the heck is that? Oh, it's got all kind of travel in it. That's nifty. It's like a floppy U-joint. A flop joint. Boy, look at my poor truck. I got no steering wheel left in it. So, this. That bracket's got to come off. That bracket's got to come off. That bracket's got to come off. But the question is, would that go in there? Wow. Or would it make more sense to just sit this right on the floor? Boy, that doesn't give me much room. I'm interfering with my gas pedal. Behind my brakes. Behind my clutch. And the next question is, if that doesn't work, would it make more sense to just tuck it up right here? Something like that. That honestly might be the thing. Yeah. Hate to say it, this old shaft is getting cut. Barrett, you're a monster. Oh, yeah, I know. All right, now we're going to take this over to the table and start looking at how to disassemble it. And my wife. How in the heck does that work? Really? Okay. We're gonna give all these old nuts and bolts a little treatment. Treated. That one? Is it that one? Oh, Barrett, you dingus. It's got little bitty star washers crimped over the edge of it. That's why I can't get a socket on it. So here, I'll show you what a star washer looks like. So, you see the little arms on it? And how they've got a couple of them bent up to grab the sides of the nut of the bolt head to keep it from backing out. All right. Now, does that fit it? That's what I thought. I'm over here all fighting it. Like, maybe this fits it. No, it doesn't fit because there's a star washer on it. Ta-da! Now then, I dropped my star. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Where'd my little nut go? Oh, it's still in there. My little bolt. Alright, now that I have this off, I can show you guys really how it works. So, yeah, let's do that. So here's that little star washer I was talking about. Over here in the light where you can see good. There we go. So, you see how it's got one big tab that fit under the edge of the part, and then it's got these little smaller tabs that you hammer around the sides of the bolt head, and that just keeps everything from wiggling loose. So I still don't know what this joint is called, but I like it. It's super cool, and it looks pretty beefy, but it allows your shaft to slide up and down and steer. Dadgummit, it did it again. So now I wonder, and that sucker is greasy. Oh my goodness, it's greasy. I'll be having to re-greasy it when we get ready to reassemble it. Do these just slide on? They do. Okay, they're just these square knobs. Yep, I want another bucket for this part. Another busket. All right, I'll clean the grease off of there, and we can see that does not appear to come out. And I could try and drive it out, but I don't want to beat up my parts if I can help it. But it may have to get tapped out of there. All right, I'm gonna tap it with a hammer. Let's just see if it moves. I'm gonna set this on the floor where I can see what I'm doing. So if I take this and give it a little tappy tap, will that come out? Does not appear to want to come out. I certainly don't want to damage it. All right, all these electrical components on the hood of this truck for now. Get them out of my way so I can completely use this table. All right, folks, so I went over to Matt's house and got his puller, and it wasn't the right size, so I had to make a run to town and go to O'Reilly and pick this one up. But I didn't have one. I also picked up the correct bolts that actually fit in those holes. Look at there. Yay! Now then, we are going to open up this puller and see if I can make this work finally. Been blown half the day playing with this. Should have been way farther along by now. Put them back. Those are not the right bolts. They're the right bolts for other stuff, but not this. So then, you're going to take that little giz off and stick it in here. Might not be using that. Might just be using that. I wonder. Maybe let me get in there without tearing something up. That's just great. I couldn't be that lucky, could I? Of course not. Of course not. I'd be modifying that. Not long enough to engage the threads. Dadgummit. All right, folks. There you go. Now it's modified. It's got a little bullet point, but it engages the threads directly. You want the little bullet point to sit in. There's a little bitty indent in the end of most of these shafts, and you want it in the little indent. Now we're going to gently give this a little rat-a-tat-tat. And there it went. That's all we needed. Now we can remove this. And we can remove these. And this old steering wheel is off. Just like so. Alright, well, now I've got me a steering wheel puller. Alright. One steering wheel. Hold. Now then, inside here is a bearing and a little spring clip. Now you grab my spring clip tools. Alright. Now then. Now the interesting part. I know that notch in that shaft is where that clamp goes. Now, yep, and that's bottom. The question is, can I remove this doohickey? They act like it's just pressed on there. I've watched a couple of videos of folks taking these and literally just tapping them off. I just dropped. Oh, a washer. Question is, will that outer sleeve just tap off? It'd be cool if it did, but I'm not holding my breath. Oh, it does. How about that? All right, nifty. That just slid right off there. Now then, this. There's a bearing holding it. So, next question is, can I just pop that out? Okay. Very interesting. Now that splines onto there. Nice. What about this side? Is it the same? Same splines? No. Not the same splines. Alright. There's that one, the same as my shaft, or the same diameter as my shaft. Can my shaft fit inside there? That's the question. How far in there do the splines go? Good ways. Ow, shiitake. I need, here we go. Something not hot to hold on to it with. I used to have a lot of things. A deburr, it would have been perfect for this. Now then, is that going to fit over there? Oh, that's just about perfect. All right, so that takes care of the top side of my shaft. Bearing up there, straight into here. That should be pretty good. Now, I still have to decide where exactly I want to cut this. Where exactly do I want to cut this? Yep, I need to measure that. Go measure that. Precisely how far along that bracket do I want this thing to sit? I got no light in here. Can't see what we're doing. Let's go get some lights. So, the old measuring tape. And then this little darling. That's going to sit there. Everything wants to fall down. I want this to sit in there. So about 2 inches. All right, cool. Two inches, roughly. All right, no going back now. I'm gonna cut my shroud in half. All right, so here we go. So far, we've got the new gearbox and the old steering column. I think I might drill a couple of holes in there to where it tacks down where I want it. It would be cool That's the exact same size. I had something that would shim that out. That would be nifty. That's on the bottom. That's going to be pointed up pretty much. I wonder. I got no room here. Alright, so here's what I'm trying to do. There's my power steering shaft. This is the spline shaft that goes on it. Spline coupler. Now, how much longer does this need to be? To get to there. Say 9.5 inches. And that may not be right. I'm going to have to trim it a little bit more, but we're going to start with 9.5. All right. Clean that up. Well, I'm really not going back now, am I? I can cut the steering shaft in half. But now, so there's the gearbox. There's that coupler we were discussing earlier. And that. Oh, it fits so nicely in there. Now I can come in here and weld that in. And then, if I'm living right, boy. Now the next question is, how long do I need to make my tail shaft? And then like, there's these little brackets here that I don't really need. That can go away. That's still kind of warm, but it ain't so warm you can't get to it. It's warm enough you don't really just hang on to it for a long time. Yep, that'll work. Alright. Alright. So, we are going to go and mount this. And then, oh yeah, that was one thing I wanted to do before I went too crazy, is I want to see, we're going to mount this in the truck loosely. And then we can take some measurements and see what our tail shaft needs to look like. Just clip back in. There we go. Click. All right. Yeah, because I got to mount it up and then orient it, and then I can tack weld these two holes, and there it'll be. Let's go do that. Yep, dadgummit. I forgot a part, or a step. What even is that? That's cool. Somebody just jammed wires into... What in the heck? I don't know what that is. But yeah, I wanted to see if I could adjust that wheel up a little bit. Alright, that's cool. folks. Now that we've got it all welded in and assembled, let's see if it actually works. When I turn the wheel, there's a lot of flex there. I've got some more brackets to build, but that'll take care of that. That works, and it clears everywhere. That was my main concern. Can you see when I push the clutch pedal pad, it misses it. Barely, but it misses it. Same thing with the brake pedal. I push the brake pedal and it clears. So everything's working, everything has clearance, which means I can drive the truck and not be ripping the steering wheel off. So when you next see me, I will be finishing up the brackets, because there's a piece of pipe that goes over that bottom shaft and that floor pan. I've got to get all that put back together. And I want to build a bracket to attach the back side of that motor to. It's got an attach point. So building some bracketry and doing the wiring, and then we can go, it'll be working. So we can go drive it around. Anyway, thanks for watching. God bless y'all, and I'll see you next time.